This actually happened in a place called Hollow Hills, where the night brings more than just silence. As darkness falls, an untraceable whisper weaves through the air, calling out to those who dare listen. The townspeople know of its power, for those who follow the voice vanish, leaving only eerie footprints behind. The mystery grips the town, stirring fear and paranoia. The origins of the whispers are as elusive as the voice itself. Some say it's an ancient spirit, restless and vengeful, seeking to reclaim its lost land. Others dismiss such tales, clinging to rational explanations. But in Hollow Hills, reason has little power against the night's murmurs and the terror they invoke. Emma, a local schoolteacher, was the latest to heed the whisper's call. She had always been skeptical, yet that night, as she lay in bed, the voice beckoned with a promise she couldn't resist. Her footprints led investigators to the edge of the forest, where they vanished without a trace. The town's search parties combed the woods, but the forest seemed to swallow them whole, offering no clues. Even advanced technology and scientific reasoning faltered in the face of the whisper. It was as if the land itself conspired to guard its secret, leaving Hollow Hills trapped in a web of uncertainty. Old stories of the town tell of a cult that once thrived here, practicing dark rituals in pursuit of immortality. They vanished long ago, leaving only ruins and whispers behind. Could these be the origins of the voice? The land remembers, and its secrets are woven into the very fabric of Hollow Hills. Desperation turns to despair for the residents as more vanish into the night. Families cling to each other, terrified of the whispers that seem to echo their innermost fears. As paranoia spreads, so does a grim realization. It's not just the call of the forest, but something deeper, something clawing from the past. One night, a storm rolled in, its fury matching the turmoil within the town. The wind carried the whispers more insistently, as if urging the townsfolk to remember what they had long buried. Amidst the thunder, some claimed to hear more than just a voice, perhaps a cry for justice or a demand for reckoning. A group of brave souls decided to unravel the mystery, gathering at the edge of the forest at dusk. Armed with courage and flashlights, they stepped into the shadowy embrace of the trees. The air thickened as the whispers surrounded them, each step echoing the town's darkest secrets. Deeper they went, the whispers weaving a tapestry of the past, of wrongs unrighted and sins forgotten. The forest seemed to pulse with life, each rustle in the underbrush a reminder of those who had come before and never returned. The air grew colder, the darkness more oppressive. They encountered the ancient altar, its stones cold and silent witnesses to the past. Here the whispers were strongest, swirling around them like a mournful chorus. Was this where the cult had performed its dark rites? The air was thick with memories and the weight of unfinished business. As the group delved deeper into the truth, a chill ran through them. The whispers were not just voices, but echoes, echoes of the town's own forgotten sins, resonating through time. The realization struck like a cold slap. It was not the land that needed appeasing, but the past demanding justice. The forest seemed to close in as the group backed away from the altar, the whispers now an urgent cacophony. It was as if the ground beneath them held the weight of the town's collective guilt, threatening to swallow them if they did not atone for the sins of their forebears. Returning to the town, they shared their revelation. Fear clashed with disbelief as the townsfolk grappled with the idea that they were living atop the remnants of an ancient cult whose dark practices echoed through time. The whispers were not spirits seeking vengeance, but the land demanding retribution from the guilty. As night fell, the whispers grew louder, a symphony of unseen voices imploring the townspeople to acknowledge their past. Doors and windows were barred, but the sound penetrated, echoing off walls and seeping into dreams. The town stood at a crossroads, faced with a choice between ignoring or confronting their history. Some sought redemption through confession, gathering in the church to pray for forgiveness. They spoke of the land's sacrifice, hoping to appease the murmurs with their sincerest apologies. But as the whispers persisted, it became clear that mere words were not enough to absolve the sins of the past. Others, more pragmatic, sought to leave Hollow Hills altogether, hoping distance would silence the whispers. But no matter how far they traveled, the murmurs remained, a haunting reminder that you cannot outrun the past. The whispers were not bound by geography, but by guilt, forever tied to those who bore it. In the end, it was the children who offered a glimmer of hope. Unburdened by the sins of their forefathers, they listened to the whispers without fear, hearing not just echoes of the past, but also a plea for understanding. Perhaps the whispers sought not just retribution, but reconciliation. A new understanding began to form as the town realized the whispers were indeed a call, not to disappear into the woods, but to confront their own shadows. Hollow Hills needed healing, not through fear, but through acknowledgement and atonement. The forest, once feared, became a place for reflection and renewal. With this revelation, the town began to change. The whispers, once feared, became guides, urging the residents to remember and learn. The ancient cult's legacy was not immortality through sacrifice, but through understanding the cost of neglecting the past. Hollow Hills was a place of mystery, but also of redemption. If you're watching this in the dark, remember that whispers are not always what they seem. The stories of Hollow Hills serve as a reminder that the past is ever present, and the only way forward is through acknowledgement. Subscribe for more tales from the shadows, as more stories are coming.